Hi guys, Ron here and welcome to the workshop. A lot of you have been asking about the Enve SES Aero cockpit that I got from Aerodynamics. Now I've done a couple of hours on it and I'm able to share some experiences and whether it was worth it or not. So the first thing many of you have been asking is that why didn't I get the new cockpit from the Enve SLR? And that's for the simple reason it wouldn't fit. The rim brake version has the front brake on the rear of the fork on the new version, and because of that, and also because the disc line runs at the back of the fork on the disc version, the cable routing is very different than what is present here. So yeah, as I said, the new version from the SLR just wouldn't fit. Then secondly, I had to use this little top cap cover which I wasn't shown in my Madone video. So that's necessary for to fit any standard stem basically. And same goes for the Enve SES Aero stem. So what does the thing actually ride and what are the specs? Well, the main reason I got this upgrade was because I felt that my reach and drop just aren't enough to get in the most aero position possible. So this stem allows to go from 6 degrees or negative 6 degrees from the standard stem to 17 degrees. And it allows you to get a length of 14 centimeters, 140 mil, or 142.5 as a maximum with the different spacer, but that's just 12 degrees. So this is basically the most aero setup. Weight-wise, I haven't measured the individual parts. I've measured the setups before and after the upgrade. Both times the bike weighed 7.25 kilos, so there's not really any discernible difference when it comes to weight. So that's a commonly asked question. I really liked integrated cockpits because in the past I have problems with stems, or rather bars slipping in stems in with carbon paste. This one though has a special type of clamp. It just wraps around the whole bar and has this nice flattened section. So really, even if you don't tighten it too much, I haven't even used carbon grip paste, and it's extremely secure over there. Another thing that's important to mention here, because the stem has different spacer wedges in there to get different positions, the top cap bolt is actually offset from the center line of the fork steer, so you have to use this special top cap, and if your fork fork steer is too long, then you're going to need to cut it flush, because otherwise there's no standard preload cap that would fit on here. Now coming to the bars, unlike the standard Madone bar and stem, this doesn't use the camtail section. It uses a rather deep full foil design. I reckon it's the maximum that the UCI allows. That would be the most logical option, of course. And it goes pretty much all the way until the stem. Actually, the only thing you could do to make it neater is, well, they could have supplied some of these rather triangles, for example, what the new Venge has, to fill in this space. Otherwise, it couldn't be really much more aerodynamic. And because of the way the Madone has its cable routing and the stem is angled downwards, it basically hides all the cables anyway from the wind. So some of you have commented that it doesn't look very neat. Well, if you look at it from where, dare I say, the wind is looking at it, there's no real difference when it comes to frontal area. or the cleanness of the frontal profile of the bike. So that's also a very neat feature. Then I've already mentioned the bar shape in the previous videos. So as you can see, it's heavily flared. So the top section only measures 35 centimeters center to center. The bottom one comes in at 40. So quite a lot of flare. What I like about the extremely narrow top section is the fact that, well, it really promotes the 90-degree bent elbow style of riding, which is super aero, pretty comfortable as well. And with the narrow bar, I can tuck my my elbows and shoulders in much more easily. So I think that contributes to a more aero position. And on the drops, there's nothing really out of ordinary. The shape of the bar, though, I think all Enve bars have this feature, is that there isn't a distinct line where the section is cut. The bar just tapers to a point, basically, where you get this rubber plug that just wraps over your bar tape and it holds it very securely in place. So this is a feature that I really like, and is specific to Enve bars. It's really rather neat. One thing I miss, though, is there are no markings with numbers and lines for the lever position, so I had to measure that out manually. To be honest, I didn't get it right for the first time, so I had to reposition them. Now they are perfect, but still would have been easier with some actual markings on there. Otherwise, the clamping area of the bar, well, that has a sort of a grip tape finish on it, so you don't need to over tighten the levers to get a good grip on there, so they don't slip, which was a problem, to be honest, with the standard Madone bar, because that just gloss all over, no friction on there, or very little, and the levers can easily slip if you're not careful, or hit a pothole or something. The most striking feature is, as I've mentioned previously, the ride quality. Now the Madone has a very plush rear end because of the isospeed, but the front end was quite chattery and it just wasn't really a balanced ride feel. With the Enve cockpit, now it is basically, it's like it had installed some isospeed on the front, because the bar takes away basically all the jarring, all the shock, and it's provides for very smooth ride, but you still get plenty of ride feedback, I would say. Although the narrow bar and the long stem do slow the steering a little bit, but I think that in this case, on high-speed riding and descending, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It also puts your weight, or a bit more weight, on the front, so it doesn't wash out easily. So yeah, overall very happy with how it rides, and in terms of comfort, both in the shape and the ride quality and the vibration absorption, they are certainly a big improvement over the standard setup. And the last part would be the computer mount. So some of you might think that this is not a necessary feature to have, or a necessary part to have. Well, if you use the stem with this bar, it is, because there isn't any room for any standard mount over there. Maybe with a round bar it would, but then again, why would you use an aero stem with a round bar? It doesn't make sense. So this K-edge aluminum unit bolts directly to the top upper part of the stem clamp as a separate unit. It's super stiff, doesn't bounce, doesn't wobble around. What surprised me is that it already comes with the Wahoo insert. I bought this previously as a separate unit, but actually I didn't end up using it because there's one included, so that's a nice feature if you're running a Wahoo. and it has a very secure feel. And if you just put it on there, it's not actually super flush like with the Wahoo mount, but it's pretty close, and it's in line with the stem and the bar, so should be good for aero. Some people said that, well, there's quite a big gap over here, but well, to be honest, I think Enve know what they are doing, so it probably should work aerodynamically. So to sum it up, I wasn't really sure at first if this was a worthwhile upgrade to my already excellent bike, but I've improved my comfort, my aerodynamics, my fit, and also I think handling as well, with weight unchanged, so no real penalties here. So overall I'm very satisfied, and I can definitely recommend the Enve cockpit. Okay, so if you want to know more about the stuff that I use, then don't forget to tune into the channel later on and subscribe. It's all up to date. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.